Hello everyone, today I have a very fun Catch Cup challenge video for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
I had an idea for a really dumb challenge today, and I thought I'd go out and catch a bunch of Pokemon, take 30 minutes, let's say. Oh, hello, a kitty looking at me. Hi, buddy. Anyways, yeah, I thought I'd take like 30 minutes. It's currently almost 5 o'clock. I'm gonna take till 5:30 and catch as much as I can in the wild, and then I'm gonna take those and try to build a team for the Catch Cup. Oh, look, another kitty. Hey, little guy. That one's eating something. Okay, so it's almost 5. I'm gonna take until 5:30, catch as much Pokemon as I can in the wild, and then we'll go home, make a team, and then use it in the Catch Cup. Hi, buddy. I'm easily distracted. Okay, let's do this.
So you guys get the idea. Basically, the challenge is I have to go out and catch as many Pokemon as I can in 30 minutes, and then I'm going to take those and use some of them in the GBL Catch Cup, and I can only use those. However, I quickly learned that I really suck at this vlogging thing. I was carrying my phone in one hand trying to catch Pokemon and carrying another phone in another hand trying to record myself, and it wasn't working out. So I ended up taking a little more time than 30 minutes because I was wasting a lot of time trying to capture footage, and I needed to put my phone down and start quick catching. And I might have been stopping to say hi to all the kitties I was seeing.
Hello.
But in the end, I ended up catching quite a few Pokemon. I caught around 88, I think. 88 or 89, something like that. I also recorded this a couple days ago after the event finished so that I wouldn't get event spawns. I wanted some other wild spawns that I could choose from. And as for what I was looking for, I was really looking for a good Fuecoco. I wanted a Skeledirge because I've never built one of those for Great League yet, so that would have been a fun one to get. Like I said, if I could build something new, that would be a win for me because then I'm not wasting my Stardust just for a video. And I was also looking for other useful Pokemon, like I was looking at the Metatites. There was a lot spawning. They were weather boosted. I had windy weather, so I caught a bunch of those, but I really didn't want to build one. It would cost me so much XL. I already have 2 built, and I just didn't want to waste Stardust on that, so I tried to ignore those. I also tried to ignore the ones that needed Elite TMs. For example, I caught a bunch of Pidgeys, but then I realized I would need an Elite TM for the fast move, and I really didn't want to use any Elite TMs. Some of the Pokemon I knew I could focus on were the starters from the most recent season they released, because those don't have any legacy moves yet. I could also focus on the Woopers. Those don't really need an Elite TM to build. I could focus on Chinchou. Maybe if I found a Wingull. I did find a Wingull right here. And I found a lot of useful stuff. Also, because we had the weather boost, the windy weather boost, I got a lot of Jangmo spawns, the little gold and gray dragon. I got so many of those, and I haven't built a Hakamo yet for Great League, and I really wanted one of those. I got lucky and I caught a really nice one, so that was an option as well. I was also specifically looking for Swablu's. I had in mind that building an Altaria would be cheap, the second move is cheap, and it doesn't really need Moonblast, which is its Community Day move. So I was really looking for one, but I was struggling to find one that would be Great League CP because they were weather boosted, and a lot of the ones I found went above 1500 CP when they evolved. Eventually I did find one, but that's basically what I was focusing on. I was actually really impressed with the variety of Pokemon I caught. And the whole point of me taking on this challenge is so that I could see if someone who is just joining Pokemon Go, if they would be able to find Pokemon in the wild that they could use easily in GBL. Now, we do have to take into consideration that I have been playing for a really long time and I have so many candies saved up for all of the Pokemon that I wanted, so I could easily build a Pokemon, whereas someone who is just joining will have to grind a little bit more to find multiples of whatever Pokemon they want to build. And I wanted to add an extra layer of challenge to the Catch Cup, because why not? You know, we always play with all of the Pokemon that we have invested so much time into. I thought it could be fun to pick up whatever I found on the streets and then just use that, you know? I'm just trying to make the Catch Cup more fun for you guys, more entertaining for you guys. I know a lot of people hate it. But let's go over what I caught, and let's hope that we have 3 decent Pokemon that we could use. Okay, so I'm back home, and now I'm just gonna go over what I caught with you guys. Let's take a look. I know I have an idea already of what I want to build, but wait, let's just look at what I caught today. And everything I caught today was basically everything I had caught on my walk that I had taken for this video. So these are all from when I went for that walk, starting from the Zigzagoon. I think I might build this because this is pretty cheap to build. It's really bad. I was expecting it to be a bit better, but it's okay. It'll be usable. Let's see what else we can build. Torkoal is interesting. Oh, that's a good one. It has Fire Spin and Earthquake. That could be interesting. Pit of... Nah. Nope. 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 Just gonna... Oh, this one. The Fuecoco. I think this one would be good. Okay, let's check this in Pokegenie. I don't have one built yet, so I would really like to build one for this challenge. Let's see. I hope it's good. Oh, Crocolore. Okay. Ooh, it's good! Which one should I make? I think I'm gonna make the Skeledirge. Ah, which one should I make? Okay, we're gonna make a Skeledirge. This one for sure. That's amazing. Rank 35, that is so good for me. And I don't have one built yet. This is the best one I have. So we're building this. What can we pair it with? We could pair it with the Obstagoon, which I said maybe about. Let's see. No. See, this one might be good too. I could run like a double fire line. Let's see. Not as good as I wanted it to be. Maybe. This one's a maybe. I'll start all the maybes and then I'll transfer everything else just to make it easier for me to go through all of these. I'm gonna put the Torkoal on maybe as well. Okay, routes. We could make a Gardevoir. I'm considering this one. Pidgey, I don't want to use any Elite TMs anymore, so I'm probably not going to build a Pidgeot. This one is really bad. I'm not going to make that. Okay. Did I do it, guys? Should I build a Medicham? Nah. This Hariyama sucks. Okay, Nido. Ooh, Weedle. This one's a maybe as well. This one could be good. Let's check it. Okay. Rank 46, not bad. It won't have Drill Run, though. I'm gonna run it without Drill Run, so that might be problematic. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Dedenne? I mean, interesting. Magnemite, Chikorita, maybe. I'll think about it. I'll start that one. Pidgey, no. That's bad. I don't think I'm gonna make a Dedenne. I don't think I'll use Hariyama. I got excited when I caught the Slowbro and then I remembered that it needs Surf, so no. Like I said, I'm not gonna run Pidgeot. This is really bad. I'm not gonna invest in that. Nope. Nope. No. Nope. Ooh. I don't have one of these yet. I don't have the middle evolution built for Great League yet, so this might be good. Let's check it. This could be an interesting one. Okay, not bad. That might actually be the best one I have. I don't have a good one. Okay. That's a possibility. And I don't have it yet, so it will be something new for me to build. Do I want to make a Gulpin? How much is it for a second move? Oh, it's only 10,000. Okay. I will consider this one. It doesn't look too bad either. Pidgey, no. Ralts, Meditite, Pidgey. I hatched to Lickitung, but I'm not going to build it. I don't want to put any XLs into this video, guys. Ooh, another good one. Okay. Let's see. Okay, the other one's better. But this one's low enough for Komo-o. Interesting. This one? Maybe. This one's a maybe as well. Do I want to build a Rhydon? I'm gonna pass on the Rhydon. I don't think it would be good. I don't think it would be very useful, honestly. Let me just go back to this Shroomish. I think a grass type might be useful, but I have that Chikorita. Maybe I'll make a Magnezone. You can see. Okay. Oh, wow. This one's good. Okay, Raichu. Nah. Okay, that's everything. So I have a few starred. I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything else that I decided I don't want to invest in. Oh wait, let me look at this Chinchou really quick. It's not good. It's not good, I'm not gonna build it. I don't want to waste dust. I'm gonna build something, I want to build something that's gonna be decent. Okay, so I've made my decision, and this is what I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run the Skeledurge on the lead, or Skeledurge. I don't know how to pronounce it. Again, I've said that a million times. I still can't pronounce the name of this Pokemon. And then I am going to have the Meganium in the back. I'm gonna run it with Petal Blizzard, not Frenzy Plant. I'm gonna have Meganium in the back to counter water types, and I'm going to have the middle evolution of this. I think it's Hakamo? Is that how it's pronounced? Hakamo. Hakamo-o. That one. Okay, so I'm gonna have basically a fire, grass, and dragon team. We'll see how it goes. The team is ABA week to Azu, but I don't know if anyone has built any Azus for this cup. If I do run into one, that's unfortunate for me, but I think this could be good. Yeah, I think this could be good. Okay, that's what we're gonna build. So I'm gonna go ahead and build those now. Hey, it's me from the future. So I did end up building a fourth Pokemon as well. I built the Altaria because the Meganium wasn't performing very well. And I did end up trying several different teams with the 4 Pokemon that I did build. In this video, you guys are going to be seeing 3 different lineups. I've also been running these Pokemon for the past few days and experimenting with a few different teams, not just the ones I caught in the wild on that day. So I can highly recommend a team that worked for me so well and got me to the mid 3000s. I was using Skeledurge, Hakamo-o, and Greninja. That team worked so well. If you don't have Greninja, you can replace the Greninja with Quagsire, which everyone should have because of Community Day. But for the sake of this video, I am only going to be running the Pokemon that I caught during that 30 minutes. So the first lineup I am running is going to be Skeledurge on the lead, and I'm going to have Meganium in the back and Hakamo-o on the safe swap, usually on the safe swap. And the idea behind this is to have the fire type on the lead and then 2 things that can counter the water types in the back. And like I said, I did want to try the Altaria as well. The Meganium at some points wasn't working out too well for me. Sometimes if I just had the Frenzy Plant, I would have won the game, but I didn't, and I didn't want to waste any more Elite TMs. So sometimes I did try the Altaria. I am also going to be trying a line with Double Dragon instead of the Meganium altogether. So that is what is going to come, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy these battles. Let's get into them. Up first, we are going to be seeing an Alolan Sandslash on the lead, which is a really good lead for us, and then my opponent is going to swap into Medicham. Now here's the problem, I have to stay in, so I am going to go ahead and bait with a Disarming Voice. My opponent shields, which is good for us, but I am going to save my Skeledirge because I have a feeling my opponent doesn't have the best answer to it, so I think it is going to be my best Pokemon here. So I have to keep it healthy. My opponent goes ahead and lets the Shadow Ball go, and we take out their Medicham. Now, unfortunately, our switch timers are misaligned, so I bring in Meganium here, and my opponent is able to bring in their Alolan Sandslash. Really unfortunate for us. What I should have done here is I probably should have stayed in with the Skeledirge and tried to reach a Shadow Ball on the Azu. I don't think it would have been running Hydro Pump, so I think if I stayed in that match, it would have been okay. And then I could have the Hakama'o aligned to the Sandslash, and I can take an Ice Punch and probably throw a Brick Break on it. But one isn't enough to KO because Brick Break is such a bad move, so I don't really see that match going any differently for us. Maybe if I had the Frenzy Plant, I could have baited against that Sandslash and then reached an Earthquake. But unfortunate for us, we do take that loss. But moving on to the next match, we do see another really tricky lead. I kind of have two answers to this in the back. I try to swap in my Hakama'o and attempt to catch a Rock Slide in case they were going to throw the Rock Slide, but they had no reason to do that. So I bring it in, and unfortunately I take that Earthquake. I'm going to go for the Brick Break, and my opponent actually shields that, which is good. I'm going to go for another one, and oh, they caught it on the Coffagrigus. How nice. I am playing this so badly. We do manage to get the Kaffa into the yellow, however, but they do farm us down, which isn't great. I am going to bring in Meganium, and because it's bulky, I'm going to go ahead and no-shield whatever the Coffagrigus is going to throw, and they throw a Psychic, which is really good because it doesn't do that much damage. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Skeledirge and take their final shield, which is so good for us. That means that this Shadow Ball is going to land on the Shadow Gyarados that they bring in and one-shots it. Now I have 2 shields left for my Meganium, and I know I can win this with Meganium because my opponent has a Stunfisk in the back. I'm going to go ahead and double shield against the Coffagrigus because whatever Kaffa is going to throw at us is going to hurt more than whatever the Stunfisk can throw at Meganium. We completely farm down the Coffagrigus and have enough for an Earthquake, throw that Earthquake on the Stunfisk, and we take that win. On to the next match, we see a very tough lead for us. We see a Komao lead, and all dragon leads are going to be really tough for this team. I don't have the best answer on my team either for dragons. I'm going to go ahead and build up to the Disarming Voice and take a shield from my opponent at least. And then my opponent is going to throw Dragon Claw. They have 2 built up. I'm going to go ahead and try to go for the Disarming Voice, but I didn't know this. I didn't know that I lose CMP to Komao, so unfortunately I had to invest both shields to get the Disarming Voice off, and then I immediately swap into my Hakama'o, and guess what? I also lose CMP here, so... But that one should have been obvious to me. So Hakama'o goes down, and they bring in a Quagsire. Now, our switch timers are so misaligned, and I bring in my Meganium, and my opponent has the perfect answer to Meganium in the back. They bring in Sandslash, and they basically destroy us. Moving on to the next match. I don't really know how we could have played that differently. But anyways, the next lead we are going to see is an Alolan Ninetales, which is really good for my Skeledirge lead. And my opponent safe swaps a Lantern. So I am going to bring in Meganium. Unfortunately, it takes me forever to reach a move. Gonna go for a Petal Blizzard, and if I had Frenzy Plant, I would have been able to store 2 and have one for this Alolan Ninetales, but I do manage to reach a second Petal Blizzard, and my opponent lets it go. I'm gonna bring in Skeledirge now, and no shield whatever my opponent is gonna throw. They had Psyshock, and then they bring in Medicham, and they top left. GG's to my opponent. Sometimes we RPS, and sometimes we get RPS. That's just how the game works. Moving on to the next match, we're going to be seeing a Clodsire on the lead. I am going to be staying in this. I think my Skeledirge might be the best answer I have to Clodsire. They go straight for the Earthquake, and I am going to go ahead and shield. I'm going to throw these Shadow Balls, and my opponent doesn't shield them. I reach another Shadow Ball. I could have thrown it, but for some reason, I thought I could catch an Earthquake on my Meganium, and this was so stupid. Like I said, I wasn't playing very well. This was a really dumb move. I don't know why I did this. I end up taking a Sludge Bomb from the Clodsire, and then my opponent brings in Lurantis. But thankfully for me, they throw some of their energy on the Meganium, so that's good for us. They don't have anything for Skeledirge. I am expecting them to be running Leaf Blade and Superpower, so they go ahead and throw a Leaf Blade. I don't have to shield, and then I can throw a Shadow Ball on the Clodsire when it comes in. They no shield and it takes them out, and then my opponent brings in Jellicent, so I am going to bait with a Disarming Voice, do one Incinerate, and then I'm going to swap into my Hakamo-O. And now I'm just going to go for these Dragon Claws and try to get the Jellicent very low. I decide not to shield the Shadow Ball because Hakamo-O is actually very tanky, and I know that my opponent is going to go on the Surf for the second move, and we are lucky that we can reach another Dragon Claw. That means that we can reach a Disarming Voice on our Skeledirge and it will take them out. So my opponent no shields that and we take that win. First set we play with this team and we go 3-2. I'm pretty happy with that, but if I could change one thing, I would put the Frenzy Plant on the Meganium. I really wish I had that. There are some situations where I really needed it. But 3-2 is still pretty good given that I'm really playing like a noob and my Meganium is running Petal Blizzard. On to the next set. On the lead in the first match, we are going to be seeing a Medicham, which is really good for us. But then my opponent swaps into Guzzlord, and I don't have the best answer to this. What I should have done is I actually should have stayed in with the Skeledirge a little bit and built up to that Disarming Voice and taken a shield from him. Now, unfortunately, I'd have to invest both of my shields into Hakamo-O to take out the Guzzlord, and I have one Dragon Claw that I can throw on the Medicham. I am not able to throw the second one because they are able to KO us. But I really wanted to maintain alignment. Unfortunately, that means that my opponent is going to be able to take both our shields, and they have a Toxapex in the back, and there is no way we are going to win this. This Sludge Wave KOs, and it is basically GG's from here. I am going to go ahead and top left. GG's to my opponent. But moving on to the next game, we are going to be seeing a Shadow Gligar on the lead, and this is where I realized that my entire team is weak to this. My opponent, however, goes ahead and swaps into Jellicent, which is really good for us. That means I can bring in my Meganium against his Jellicent, and I am going to go for this Petal Blizzard now because we don't have Frenzy Plant. Now, if my opponent knew I was running Petal Blizzard, they might have had a chance there to shield and maybe take out the Meganium. But they don't shield, and we were able to take them out. They bring in Gligar and immediately go for that Aerial Ace. I guess they were afraid of getting hit by another Petal Blizzard. And then they bring Quagsire, and I immediately swap into my Hakamo-O. Unfortunately, it is Shadow, so these Mud Bombs are going to hurt. We are barely able to take two. I'm going to go ahead and no shield because I need shields for my Skeledirge in the back. But at this point, it's basically over for us. They still have 2 shields for that Gligar, and we definitely can't win this. At this point, I realized I was really weak to Flyers, especially Gligar, so I decided maybe I would give the Altaria a go. I decided that I would replace the Hakamo-O with Altaria. However, it was the Meganium that was giving me issues, not the Hakamo-O. I realized this later. But for now, we are going to be trying Skeledirge lead with Altaria in the back and Meganium in the back. Now, moving on to the next match, we are going to be seeing an Alolan Sandslash on the lead, which is a very good lead for us, but my opponent is going to swap in Mandibuzz. And guess what? This is something else that my old team was really, really weak to. But now I have Altaria for it, which is sort of kind of an answer if we can land the Dazzling Gleam. Now here I go ahead and I make a mistake. I should have gone for that Sky Attack and I should have baited first, but my opponent goes ahead and shields. I'm going to go ahead and let this next Dark Pulse go, and I am going to be able to reach a Sky Attack. I thought this would be enough to KO, but my opponent lives with 1 HP. Unfortunately, we have to let the Altaria go because I want to keep a shield for my Skeledirge. Now my opponent brings back in a Alolan Sandslash, which is very interesting. What could they have in the back that is very weak to Skeledirge? Let's see now, and they have a Victory Bell. I'm going to go ahead and bait with a Disarming Voice, and then I should be able to throw the Shadow Ball, but my opponent top lefts. GG's to my opponent. Moving on to the next match, we are going to be seeing another Gligar lead, really annoying lead. I kind of have to stay in this because I have one Pokemon in the back that is really weak to this. So I am going to go ahead and shield, and we successfully shield a Dig, but then my opponent brings in Clodsire. I am going to go for the Shadow Ball and weaken him, and then my plan is to swap into Altaria, but I realized that this could be running Stone Edge after I swapped. Lucky for us, it is running Sludge Bombs, so these Sludge Bombs are going to tickle Altaria. They're not going to be doing too much damage, but I can't take a third, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Sky Attack. And this should take out the Clodsire, and my opponent is now going to bring back in the Gligar, and they are going to throw the Sky Attack as soon as they get it, which is good. That means they are energy dry, and I can bring in Skeledirge now, and I am still going to have to bait because my opponent still has 2 shields. Gonna bait with that Disarming Voice, and we take a shield from our opponent, and my opponent has a Quagsire in the back, and I have a Meganium, which is really good for us, but the Stone Edge does way too much damage. Now they go ahead and they throw an Aqua Tail. They don't commit to the Stone Edge. They could have to take us out, but I am able to completely farm down the Quagsire and have a Petal Blizzard for this Gligar to take their final shield, and then we can throw this Shadow Ball, and it's enough to KO Gligar. GG's to my opponent. Now this next game I should have won, but I make a really big mistake. I am going to lead Skeledirge into their Alolan Ninetales, which is really good for us, and my opponent brings in a Lickitung. Now I'm going to go ahead and immediately swap in my Altaria and go for these Sky Attacks, and I can take these Body Slams. However, here's my problem. My Altaria is not good IV. Another Altaria would have survived this Body Slam and lived to make another Sky Attack, but I don't. Unfortunately for us, if I had shielded that Body Slam, I would have been able to take this game. But my opponent has a Quagsire in the back. They're able to win switch, and they now have their Quagsire aligned with our Skeledirge, and they have their Alolan Ninetales aligned with our Meganium. They still had 1 shield left, and I think in this situation, if I had the Frenzy Plant, I would have been able to throw 2 moves on this Alolan Ninetales and take it out. So another situation where if I had Frenzy Plant, I could have won the game. And also, if I had alignment, if I had shielded my Altaria, I would have been able to take this game as well. But unfortunate for us, we are not going to be able to win this. Now, I do run this team for a couple more sets, but I drop a lot and I really don't like it. And Meganium was giving me such a hard time, so I swap it out for a Hakamo-O, which is the team that we are going to be using now. And unfortunately, because we did drop, we are back in Gatekeeping Elo, so I am up against an expert who is almost Legend, so already I'm thinking I am probably going to give them the win. So we lead Skelly into their Lickitung, and I immediately swap into Altaria, and my opponent brings in Medicham, which is an okay counter to Altaria because it has Ice Punch. This Ice Punch is going to be able to one-shot us. I don't want to invest shields yet. Skeledirge isn't actually the worst into Lickitung, so I think I can win the game with Skeledirge. Now I'm going to bring it into this Medicham, and the Psychic is going to hurt more than whatever the Lickitung is going to be able to throw at us. So I'm going to go ahead and shield it, and now I can go for these Disarming Voices against this Lickitung. I'm going to farm up as much energy as I can before swapping. They reach a Power Whip and they go ahead and throw it here, but we are able to survive, and I'm going to bring in my Hakamo-O now. And they bring Scrafty. This isn't the worst. I'm going to go for these Brick Breaks, which really suck. I wish they did more damage. But we're working with what we got, and this Scrafty is just going to go for Power Up Punch. Now I'm going to go for another move, and my opponent is going to go ahead and shield here because we could have taken him out. I'm not going to invest any shields into Hakamo-O. Instead, I realized that I could probably win this with Skeledirge. I'm going to go ahead and shield this move from Scrafty, and I have 2 Disarming Voices loaded up for the Lickitung. However, I am not going to charge them up because, like I said, this person is really close to Legend, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and give them that win. GG's to my opponent, and I hope you reach Legend. Moving on to the next match, we are going to be leading Skelly into a Charge-a-Bug. How unfortunate for my opponent. They are going to swap a Quagsire, and I am going to bring in my Altaria. Now, I go ahead and no shield here, and it's a Stone Edge, and it hurts a lot. I'm gonna go for this Sky Attack, and hopefully my opponent doesn't bait me on the next move. I think I am going to shield this. No. I end up not shielding the Stone Edge. Okay, interesting choice. But I do have another answer to Charge-a-Bug in the back. The Charge-a-Bug isn't going to be able to do much to this Hakamo-O, so I was okay with losing switch there, especially since I get to keep my shields, and my opponent is 1 shield down now. So I am going to farm up with my Hakamo-O and let this X-Scissor go, and then I am going to swap into Skeledirge. Now, my opponent is probably running Crunch, which is why they're staying in. Gonna go ahead and invest a shield and going for these Shadow Balls against this Jellicent. They don't shield the first one, so it puts them really low, and now I can just go for a Disarming Voice, take their final shield, and I decide to let my Skeledirge here go because I can actually take the Jellicent out with my Kumo-O, and then I can go for a Dragon Claw against this Charge-a-Bug and take this win. GG's to my opponent. Moving on to the next match, we are going to be seeing an Alolan Sandslash lead again, which is really good for Skeledirge, but my opponent is going to swap in Dragonair. Now, I'm immediately going to bring in my Kumo-O, and I'm going to completely Dragon Tail it down. I am happy to give up a shield here in order to maintain alignment because my Altaria absolutely cannot see this Sandslash. I do make it to a Brick Break, however, on the Sandslash, and we're able to take out most of his health, and then we are able to incinerate the Sandslash down before it can reach move against my Skeledirge. Gonna go for these Disarming Voices against the Lickitung that my opponent brought in, and this is basically game over for my opponent because we still have a full health Altaria in the back for this Lickitung. I go ahead and I shield my Skeledirge just for fun because I saw that I got to a move. And we take their final shield, and then I swap into my Altaria, and my opponent top left is here. GG's opponent. But moving on to the next match, we are going to be seeing a Jellicent lead, which is really bad for our Skeledirge. I'm going to swap into my Altaria, and my opponent is going to bring in Medicham, which I'm actually okay with seeing here. I'm going to be able to take shields out of them at least. So going to go for that Sky Attack, and I know I can survive one Ice Punch. I'm not going to be able to survive a second one, and they have to go for that second one so that I don't reach the next Sky Attack. Now I'm going to bring back in Skeledirge, and I'm going to farm up as much energy as I can against this Medicham. Unfortunately, they are going to be reaching a Psychic, and that hurts so much, and they're also going to be able to reach an Ice Punch before we're able to take them out. Because we're so loaded on energy, my opponent decides to bring in Gligar instead of Jellicent to take one of the Shadow Balls, and then I immediately swap into my Hakamo-O, and I go for this Dragon Claw before they throw an Aerial Ace. They go ahead and use their final shield. I'm going to invest a shield here as well, and now my opponent brings in Jellicent, but they swap out with their Gligar with an Aerial Ace stored, so I have to keep that in mind. Now my opponent goes for a move here. It turns out to be a Surf, and they take our final shield, but we CMP tie on the next move, and the Dragon Claw is able to KO the Jellicent. They bring back in Gligar, and they go straight for that Aerial Ace, and I have a Disarming Voice saved on my Skeledirge. I can go for it immediately and take out their Gligar. GG's to my opponent. But in the next match, I am going to see what my team is kind of weak to. It is really weak to Steelix, and my only answer to Steelix on this team is Skeledirge. Now my opponent led Medicham, and unfortunately, I have to stay in this matchup against the Steelix because the two back Pokemon are not going to be able to do anything against this. So unfortunate for us. I just have to hope that I can land a Shadow Ball. We are able to land one Shadow Ball, and I'm going to go ahead and let my Skeledirge go here. Now I'm going to bring in my Altaria and farm down the Steelix completely, and they have a Carbink in the back. That is GG's for us. I am not going to be able to do anything against that Carbink. And yes, my whole team is weak to Carbink. I have no answer for it. Let's just skip to the next match. For the final game of the video, we are going to be leading Skeledirge into Gligar. Again, the most annoying Pokemon after Medicham, that is. Gonna stay in this match, and I'm going to no-shield the Aerial Ace. I had a feeling they would try to bait with Aerial Ace, and my opponent catches a Disarming Voice on their Arctibax. Now, oh, they just quit. Okay, GG's. And that gives us a 3-2 in this set. Now, I really like this team. It's really strong as long as you don't see any Carbinks, and Steelix is a little bit problematic as well. But that brings us to the end of our video. I'm sorry it was a long one, but I hope you guys enjoyed the challenge. If you guys enjoy my videos, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like on my video. It helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!